Yá'át'ééh, my relatives. Good afternoon. It's just afternoon here on the East Coast, and I am sitting down for my second cup of coffee, and I am very excited to talk to you about my upcoming Unsettling Truths Book Tour, which I'm going to begin next Tuesday on July 19th. But before I begin, let me do as I always do by acknowledging that I'm speaking to you from what's now known as Washington, D.C., but these are the traditional lands of the Piscataway. And I want to honor the Piscataway as the hosts of the lands where I live. I want to thank them for their stewardship of these lands. And I just want to state how humbled I am to be living on these lands today. So if you've been following me on social media, you know that I have been kind of planning and scheduling a I don't know if unofficial, my own self-funded Unsettling Truths Book Tour. And I already did my first stop about a month and a half ago when I went up to New York City and held an event there. But I've been planning a cross-country road trip, and I'm beginning that trip on July 19th, which is next week Tuesday, and I will be gone for actually about 5 or 6 weeks. Part of the time I'll be with family in New Mexico, but much of the time I will be hosting events and speaking about the book and talking about unsettling truth and the doctrine of discovery at sites all across the country. At the moment, I have 9 confirmed book tour events locations that are confirmed and they're set, and I have another 8 events, 7 or 8 events that are potential events. We're still planning them. They're a little further out in the tour, and so we're still trying to get the details together for some of those events. But it looks like the next 4 to 5 weeks, maybe 6 weeks, are going to be really busy, and there's going to be a lot of really good discussion going on around the country. So I want to thank Shantina. Great to see you here. Mr. Phil Fox, Yá'át'ééh. Thanks for joining. So let me just begin going right into it. If you would like to see some of the locations where I'm going to be, let me give you a link here that you can follow. So one of the places where I'm keeping my schedule is on my website. And let me just show you the page on my website. So on the page for where most people go to buy a book, I now have some links and details about this event. And so let me put this into the comment section here. And so if you go into that page, which is the page on my website, and you'll notice at the top of the page, it gives the graphic about the book. It gives you a link to buy the book, and then it has a paragraph about the Unsettling Truths Book Tour. And then the first link there, list of all upcoming book tour events. That will take you down to the bottom of the page where I tell a little more about the book tour. I have a few links in there. And then we begin the schedule of where I'm going to go. And so this is what I've been working on these past several weeks. And myself and my assistant and many of you have been suggesting places and even helping plan some of these events. And so I want to begin going over some of the schedule right now. So let me turn this off and we'll come back here. And I'm just going to go through some of the schedule. The first event that we're having is going to be in Buffalo, New York. And that will be this coming Tuesday. So next Tuesday, July 19th. It will be at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and it's going to be at Renovation Church. This is a church I preached at before. I know the congregation well, I know the pastor well, and so I'm really excited to have the space. We're going to be in their main sanctuary beginning at 7 p.m. So the way I'm kind of theming this book tour is about a month and a half ago, I gave a lecture at a Native museum, an Indigenous Peoples Museum in Prescott, Arizona, about the legacy of broken treaties by our nation towards Indian country, towards Native nations. And I spoke about how the doctrine of discovery and this myth of Christian nationalism really kind of exacerbates the problem our country faces of keeping treaties with Native nations. And that is one of the primary themes I'm going to be speaking about throughout this entire book tour. So at every event, what I'm planning to do is to give about a 45-minute presentation Of course, we'll start with an introduction. We'll do a land acknowledgement for wherever we are, and then I will give about a 45-minute presentation, between 45 minutes to an hour, on the doctrine of discovery, on the book, and expanding into the legacy of our nation breaking treaties with Native nations. After I speak for about 45 to 60 minutes, we will then take some time for Q&A. I'll have about 15 to 20 minutes of Q&A. And then after that, we will have a book sale and a book signing. So even if people who've already bought the book, but they have it with them, they can bring the book to the event, and I'll be happy to sign those books if they don't already have them signed. So this is kind of going to be the standard schedule for every event that I have. I will probably adapt it a little bit for the different locations that I'm in, but I really want to talk about our nation's legacy of broken treaties, and especially how, even though our Constitution says treaties are the supreme law of the land, the Supreme Court rules that whenever Congress wants, it has the right to break treaties. And so we need to look at, why does our nation feel it has these two statements, which are very much a contradiction to each other. So anyway, so the first event will be in Buffalo, New York at Renovation Church on Tuesday, July 19th at 7 p.m. And so if you are in the Buffalo area, I welcome you to join us. These are all public and free events, and there's no charge to get in. I'm not charging honorariums for the sites that are hosting me. I'm really doing this to promote the book and to engage the dialogue about unsettling truths. And so that will be the first stop of the event. The second stop will be in Detroit, Michigan. And this will be on Wednesday, July 20th, again at 7 p.m. in the evening. So the next night, I will be at Central Detroit Christian CDC, and that is at 1550 Taylor Street in Detroit, Michigan. And we'll be doing an event there beginning at 7 p.m. on July 20th. There may be another event we're planning in Detroit. I'm still going to talk with another group today about possibly doing another event on the 21st. But right now, we definitely have this event planned on the 20th. And then on the 22nd, I will be traveling from Detroit over to Grand Rapids. And I'll be in Grand Rapids, Michigan for 2 days. And on Friday, July 22nd, I will be at Calvin University at the Alumni Boardroom, which is on campus at Calvin. And at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, this is on Friday afternoon, I'll be giving my presentation and having the book signing there. And then on Saturday, July 23rd, I will be at Oakdale Park Church, and this will start in the morning. We're advertising it at 9:30 in the morning. This is Eastern time. And we're going to have some refreshments there because it's a bit earlier in the morning, so people can come get some kind of light refreshments and a cup of coffee. And then we'll probably start the event about 9:45. And that location is at 961 Temple Street Southeast in Grand Rapids, Michigan. After those two events in Grand Rapids, I will then travel down to Chicago. And on Sunday, July 24th, I will be at the Lawndale Christian Fitness Center, which is part of the Lawndale Community Development Association. And that is at the Skyline Conference Room where we'll be. And the address for that is 3750 West Ogden Avenue. This is on the 4th floor, and that's in Chicago, Illinois. So that will be on Sunday, July 24th. And that one will begin, I don't have the time here listed, but that one's going to begin at 5 p.m. That will be Central Time. So 5 p.m. on Sunday, July 24th, I'll be at the Lawndale Christian Fitness Center in Chicago. Then I'm going to travel up to Minneapolis, and I'm arriving into Minneapolis on July 26th. And we have two locations that are potential sites for this event. We haven't, there's one location that's a bit bigger and a bit more centrally located. And so we're hoping to get that location. I'm going to actually hear about that this afternoon. If not, there is a second location we already have confirmed. And so we will we'll host at one of these two locations, but I don't have the event, the actual location confirmed. I know we have at least one, but we're hoping to get the second larger one confirmed. And so that most likely will be on July 26th, although it may be on July 27th. So that will be either on Tuesday or Wednesday. probably sometime around 7 o'clock in the evening. So the location and the date and time are still being confirmed, but I do have a confirmation that there will be an event happening in Minneapolis at least one of those 2 days. After Minneapolis, I'm going to be traveling down to Orange City, Iowa. And in Orange City, Iowa, on Thursday, July 28th, beginning about 7 or 7:15 p.m., they haven't set the exact time yet, I will be at Trinity Reformed Church. And that is at 201 St. Paul Avenue Southeast. And that's right there in Orange City, Iowa. Later today, I'm going to have a conversation with some people in Pine Ridge, and I'm hoping to set up an event in Pine Ridge for either July 30th or July 29th. But I don't have a confirmation or even a location in mind yet there. I'm still trying to have some conversation with some people in Pine Ridge. And so if that ends up getting added to the schedule, that will happen either on July 29th or July 30th. And then on July 31st, I will be in Denver, hosted by the Christian Indian Center. We don't have the exact location or the time set up for that event, but I did talk with people there, and we are looking to set something up and have that set up in Denver on July 31st, which is the Sunday at the Christian Indian Center. I do suppose there's a slight chance it could be moved to Saturday if the thing in Pine Ridge doesn't happen, but right now we're looking primarily at July 31st on the Sunday. And then from there, I'm going to be traveling down to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and about a week and a half later, on Tuesday, August 9th, I will be at Good Medicine Way. And so Good Medicine Way has both an online as well as a physical event. So they stream their physical event, and I will be in person at where they meet in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and that's beginning at 6 p.m. Mountain Time on Tuesday, August 9th. So those are the majority of the events that we have confirmed. And if you're interested in seeing kind of where I'm going, I actually have a map laid out here. So again, we'll be starting over in the east in Washington, D.C., heading up to Buffalo, going down around the lake into Detroit, going across Michigan to Grand Rapids, down into Chicago, up into Minneapolis, and then down to Orange City, hopefully over to Pine Ridge, down to Denver, and then eventually over to Albuquerque. So that is the first half of the tour. The second half of the tour, and I don't have a lot of events confirmed yet. They're late in the planning stages, but I don't have a date or location confirmed for any of these yet. But we're hoping to do something in Gallup, possibly something else in the Navajo Nation that first or second week of August. And then we'll be headed over to Southern California. And I'll actually be in Southern California for about a week. And so we're hoping to get at least one event planned. We're looking at one really closely right now in Pasadena, as well as another one in Santa Barbara. We have another event we're going to be hosting in Fresno. And then we're looking at a few options up in San Francisco. And so that will primarily be between maybe like August 13 and August maybe 21 or 22 is when I will be in Southern California and then traveling up to Northern California. And then I have to get home. So we're looking at, there's two routes of getting home. I have nothing planned on the way home yet. And so most likely we will go north up through Nevada, maybe through Utah. We just decided we might be going this way. I know a few people have been thinking about doing something in Utah. So there's an option. We could do something around Salt Lake City, and then coming back through Nebraska and Iowa, and then back down into DC. It's still an option. We could go back through a southern route, going back through the Southwest, maybe even stopping in Phoenix if we did that, and doing something in Phoenix, or and then coming back through the top of Texas and Oklahoma, and then in through Tennessee, and then back here. I'm going to be a bit more pressed for time trying to get home. And so that is why we don't have a lot of events scheduled. We may try to do one or two, but that's not even confirmed yet. there's a few things that I have to do to get back to DC for, and so there's not a solid schedule of how I'm gonna of the time of how much time I'm gonna have to get back. And then, of course, I am doing a fundraiser to help fund this. This book tour is not sponsored by my publisher. It's not sponsored by any sort of speaking bureau or anything like that. This is just me wanting to talk to our nation and to our country about our book that Seung-Chan and I wrote, Unsettling Truths, and to begin to continue to unpack this history of the doctrine of discovery and its really dehumanizing legacy on our nation's history, both religiously as well as politically, and obviously in just the general society as a whole. So if you are interested in helping fund this tour, you can always support this on GoFundMe. And so my GoFundMe, I'm going to give the link here into the comment section. And my GoFundMe is where I'm going to be doing a lot of my updates. So I'm going to be putting posting some regular updates, not only to the people who donate there, but you can just choose to follow this campaign on GoFundMe, even if you don't donate. And then you'll get notifications and updates about schedule changes and about events and photos and maybe videos of events that have happened. But I'm going to be doing a lot of engagement through GoFundMe as well as on my social media. And so I'm going to be doing a lot on my Twitter and on my Facebook, on my Instagram, and on my YouTube channel. I was just talking with some friends the other day about how I want to handle my second cups of coffee while I'm on the road. And I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to do at least one second cup of coffee in every location that I stop in. They won't be long, probably more like 10 to 15 minutes in length instead of 20 to 30 minutes in length. And they will be probably talking about issues going on locally, especially within Indian country, as well as talking about what's going on with the book tour and the conversations that are being generated from that. And so that is also one of the things that I'll be doing. And then, of course, there's a lot of people who follow me on Patreon, and I'm still going to be keeping a lot of my regular Patreon schedule while I'm traveling. So I will, as I said, I'll still be doing my second cups of coffee, which I will upload onto my Patreon. I'm actually doing the virtual book study with myself and Seung-Chan Ra tomorrow. We do that once a month, and so that will be happening tomorrow. I'm still planning to give a lecture this month. I haven't yet decided on a topic for that lecture because there's so many things that are going to be happening this month. I haven't decided on a topic, and I will be doing at least one or at least two Q&As while I'm on this trip as well. And so my Patreon schedule will continue to take place if you're following me and subscribe to me on Patreon. And I'll also be giving updates about the book tour while I'm there, while I'm on Patreon as well. So anyway, these are all the things that are happening. It's going to be a busy 5 or 6 weeks coming up, but I am really excited. As I said earlier, when the book came out, I was in the middle of a campaign, and then COVID hit right after the campaign was over. And or actually in the middle of the campaign, COVID hit. And so we never had a chance to have a very robust kind of promotion and tour of the book. We never got kind of the speaking bump that usually comes when you write a new book and there's a lot of engagement around it on the speaking circuit. And so I even though the book has been selling well, it's won some awards and it's selling well, it's generating some good dialogue, I really feel like there's a lot more legs left in this book. And that's why I'm doing this book tour, because I really, really want to engage the nation, the church, the American people with the doctrine of discovery, with the content that we have included in this book. And I'm really working to continue to try and initiate this national dialogue on race, gender, and class. I'm really working to try and continue to create a common memory. And so I'm so excited to be able to take the next several weeks to do the best I can to engage this process or engage this conversation really across the country. I'm looking forward to being in person. All of my events, we are going to recommend that people wear masks. I know most places around the country do not have mask mandates anymore, but at our events, we will continue to encourage people to wear masks and to make sure that they protect not only their health, but the health of their community. If you've been following COVID-19, you know that the cases have been rising with new variants that have come out. And so I want to make sure that we're just keep taking care of our health and the health of the most vulnerable in our communities. But these are the things I wanted to share with you. I'm very excited about all of this, and I'm hoping to do one more live stream about this event, about this tour before I leave. And then obviously we'll continue to be engaging this online once we do depart. So let me just go through the comments here and see if anyone's making some comments. Mary, Yá'át'ééh, thanks for joining. Glad you're here. Catherine, joining from Nairobi, Kenya. Yá'át'ééh, thanks for joining. Yes, Mitchell, these events are listed online. I will share the link one more time. One of the places it's linked is on my website, on the page where I sell my Unsettling Truths book. And so there is a link, there is a list there of all the events. I'm going to be keeping that list updated throughout the tour. There's also a list on the latest update of my GoFundMe. And even if you don't donate to this book tour, you can still read my updates and follow me, what I'm doing there. And both those locations do have the most current confirmed schedule that we have for this book tour. So, Brian, I'm glad to see you in Tennessee. There's a chance we may have a stop in Tennessee, if not on this tour, maybe sometime in the fall. I have a lot of people wanting to do something in Nashville while I'm there, and so I'm hoping that we'll be able to get that going. But yeah, thank you, everyone. I want to thank you for joining me for the second cup of coffee. I've been wanting to do this update every day this week. And every time I was going to jump on, I would get another detail that would come in, or I'd be waiting for one last detail. And so finally, I just decided today I wanted to get out what I have and share that with you. And we'll see where things go from here. So I hope your cup of coffee is as good as mine is. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm really looking forward to going out and engaging more publicly, especially traveling across the country. To everyone who's purchased a book in the past, thank you so much for engaging in this dialogue. For everyone who has helped support this upcoming book tour, thank you so much for your investment in helping this dialogue spread across the country. And for everyone who's following, I really appreciate your engagement in this dialogue. I'm very excited to see what happens over the next 5 or 6 weeks. So, my relatives, walk in beauty, and may we learn how to walk in beauty together. Hakone.